I guess a lot of people can be critical of Trump for a lot of things, but not for keep trying to keep up all his promises. He's trying to keep all his promises right out of the gate. How many days it's been? A little over a month since he took office,
Yeah,
and he's fast paced, executive orders, appointments, get them cleared. The Secretary of Defense, isn't it? They got that cleared. They got the Cash Patel's got like a dual appointment, I guess, doesn't he?
yeah. He's not only going to be the director of the FBI, but Trump just made him the acting director of ATF.
Yeah, see, I always wondered too. A lot of people have wondered why they had those split up because basically they have the records, they have the same records. If unless you've been living under a bush for all years and years and years, you have to know that now you have like they do keep track records of your guns and stuff like that. Especially if you make a legitimate purpose at a gun shop, you have to file BATF forms. In the state of Michigan, that's even been more than doubled up since Whitmer took office. But anyway, so I don't understand. They have access to the same
Well,
database.
think
So.
about it. It probably started off under another agency and just became a behemoth of its own.
Yeah, I mean,
That
it's
got out of control.
see, that's the thing is they always do this in the federal government, in the state governments, local governments. They have duplication of services. I mean, that's what it is. If you have one database, guess what? If they had kept us on board, had all this under the same umbrella operation, they could have probably prevented a lot of leaks, a lot of security risk, and stuff like that. But no, each time you put a new computer on another person's desk, that increases the potential for being hacked. Am I right? Do you think, or is that being too paranoid? Or
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and the government is the main target of most hackers. But the more we're living and the more that's being uncovered, sometimes I think some of these things are created by government just to, you know what I mean, to
yeah,
be like a fade or look what's happening over here, just to get our minds off of what's really going on.
yeah. I
I
mean, I think
hate to
it
be a conspiracist.
Well, the thing is, it is because let's face it. Even if it's not deliberately done, they just allow the press to. They will submit it's going on, but the press will just concentrate and they'll tell them directed your focus on this, and it's not forgotten. It's not totally off the books or whatever. It's on the books. They could say it was alluded to in this broadcast or this little news item in a paper, but that's about it, or magazine or whatever. But no, I think it is. I think it's a misdirection, or redirecting. Yeah,
But it's not working anymore because they don't have the team. You know what I mean?
right.
You could put something on CNN, but who's going to see it?
Right. It's like another thing is there's so many people out there, the legacy, what we call the legacy media, ABC, NBC, CBS, and then all those people like you and I, and people like way bigger than like Rogan and all that stuff. These people are actually they're saying, no, wait a minute, pass by. Let's go back to this point. Let's
Yeah,
look at this for a while.
and
Yeah,
that's what's great. That's one thing about that I'm happy living in today is that we have instant news. There's no more wait. Oh, look, what happened today? I'm going to wait until 6 o'clock to find out. No, something's happening in your town. Chances are that with social media, you can find out. You someone in your group's going to know what's happening.
yeah, I mean it's like the transparency is it's being more transparent, and that's another thing too. I see people posting stuff on Facebook and being accusatory of Trump who did this or he's hid this from the past. I don't know. I think he's allowed the criticism to come forward. He hasn't tried to stifle it. He does face it. The media is certainly not on his side, so he didn't have the darlings running around trying to cover his tracks as much as the especially the Democrats.
Okay, but if so many people were interested in what liberals had to say, CNN would be more popular, wouldn't it?
I would think so, and I would
And
think
it
so.
and it's not.
No,
So and I don't. And all it is just a way to prop up propaganda. But the thing is, they're seeing that nobody's watching it anymore.
yeah, I mean, and that can, I mean, now they can tell. I mean, of course, they have streaming services too, along with traditional stuff that's on the regular
But
television.
it doesn't compete.
No, it doesn't. I
I
mean,
mean,
it's
you wouldn't even know it's out there. I mean, you go look and like CNN. I don't even know if they're on YouTube anymore. But when they weren't getting any views on anything.
no, I mean, well, look at okay, if you just look at the fact that like the newspapers we used to have in local communities like such as Flint, they don't exist anymore. And the media thought they were small, the legacy media on the internet, not on the internet, but the broadcast radio and
But
stuff.
think about it. Part of the reason that we lost the Flint Journal, it wasn't relevant anymore because it had been bought up by a behemoth media group that tried to make everything vanilla. throughout the state of Michigan with them alive.
Yeah, that's
Instead of being independent papers with independent people, they all had the same message.
do you think if somebody would to say, "Hey, I'm gonna put some launch a newspaper, a real newspaper," basically for Flint, it'd be like a newsletter. But I mean, if you think they would have support for that, they'd have viewers, subscribers and stuff, or what?
If they had information, I mean, if we had somebody like a Dave Barber of old, you remember him,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then I forget what the other radio guy. If you had people that were actually investigative reporters that gave people news that they wanted from, I mean, when's the last time that you heard anything directly from the mayor's office of the city of Flint?
Um, I haven't, not directly. No,
No, and
you
it's a
know.
shame, even with the internet. But what do you think about? Does it really matter to you that Joy Reid has lost her show
Um,
on
no, because everyone,
MSNBC?
no,
The lady who had the black lady who had the weird orange wig
okay, that's like I'm pretty. You know what? I guess it doesn't matter because I can't recall what network she was with. So
MSNBC.
okay, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Obviously, it's not. Other than it's a kind of victory that these talking heads, the legacy media, always wants to parade by us. Yeah, as they're being challenged and dismissed. Yeah, I think that's cool. But I
But
never.
what do you just change the topic? What do you think about Cash Patel being named acting head of the ATF? Do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
Oh, I think that's good. I mean, like I've said, I think it's the same function. It's law enforcement. So I again don't understand why they have such a such a demarcation between this is a BATS function, this is the FBI. They both have they have to have access to records. They
But
have
what
to
do
have
you think about
themselves.
Cash Patel as a
Yeah,
person?
I don't know what to make of him. I don't know that much about him, but I heard him talk. I think he's generally a person interested in liberty and
Yeah.
like trying to walk the fine line between law enforcement and going to the area of to being tyrannical. And I'm always a critic of law enforcement because I think they
But
still
that's the thing about the FBI is not supposed to be law enforcement. They're supposed to be the Bureau of Federal Investigations,
right,
right? They're
right.
supposed to investigate things, and if they find something wrong, they should be handing it off to.
Yes,
They shouldn't be the ones going and getting the. But unfortunately, we don't have that cohesion with local law enforcement and the FBI
no,
because a lot of these blue cities don't want anything to do with anything federal.
see, see, I'm torn between that because I don't like federal government stepping in. I think it should be in the hands of local things. But
Right.
if there's federal money being transferred to these locations, then they should follow. Let's face it; those who pay the bill should be able to, those who pay the price should be able to call the fiddle, the tune. That's why I'm looking at it. And if they're offering giving you the money, then you should follow their mandates. That's what I'm. If you don't want it, then don't take the money. I mean, that's as simple as that.
Have you heard about Trump's proposal to give 20% of Doge back, the money that they're finding in rebates to the American taxpayer in the form of maybe Trump said something like $5,000?
Yeah, see, okay, I like the money. I mean, if they landed $5,000 and landed in my lap, I'd love it. I got bills to pay off. That'd be great. That's
It
what
could
I've been
be, I
pushing
mean,
on.
for the average person, it could be life changing.
Right. Well, another thing is though, but on the same, okay, when they give out the money for stimulus during the COVID thing, of course, it's a little bit better now. People are
But
back to work.
but
Like,
tell me, who's going to do something? Would you rather have control of, even if it's only $5,000, to
oh
do
yeah,
what you want with, and it's a rebate given back to you as a taxpayer,
I know.
rather than it be that it stays in government and they choose how to spend it?
Well, that's another thing. It's okay. You're saying you say you've discovered this big drain and stuff like that. You seal this up. Oh yeah, but you're not getting the money of it. We're just but you to be trusted. We can be trusted. We're going to put it into so we can pay off the
Well,
bills later.
what
No, I don't
what
buy
it
that.
the way what it is a 2020 20% is given back to the American people, 20% is given to the debtors, and the 60% is put back in the budget for next year.
Well, see, that's a smart move then. I mean, that's if 2020, if we get a portion of it. Now, see, if it was a bigger chunk and they wanted to, they didn't want to pay down the debts, that's the purpose of doing all these cuts were supposed to be about, then yeah, that wouldn't be addressing the issue initially for which it was initially
But
initiated.
immediately the critics are piling on and saying that Trump and Elon are just trying to buy votes with this $5,000.
Yeah, okay. Neither one of those tried to buy votes, and they waste a lot of their money getting elected or in the position. I mean, well, Trump did. I mean, Elon did kind of ride along with him on that, but let's face it. I mean, and I don't know what I make about Elon, but I mean, I think he's saying what he's saying what I want to hear, and he's also doing what I want done. So I can't criticize him so far. No, the personal
No?
issues and stuff. No, I
What
can't.
did you see any with what's it, Argentina's president giving Elon Musk a chainsaw?
No, no, I didn't see
It
that.
was at the CPAC. It was
Okay,
pretty good.
that's
Just Elon looks so nerdy trying to hold the chainsaw, and it's I don't know. It's just fun watching that guy with
normal things.
how he acts.
Yeah, I
With
just
I don't know,
see, both like it's weird though that I've said this before. I think it's strange that Trump resonates so well with working class blue collar people. And I know you have issues with that term, but I'm saying it because most people are familiar with those terms. But people like him better than they do people who try to act like they came from that background. I mean, they know who he is, and they're still willing to. Because I see them see as more of a partnership. Trump's always been the one that gets the money invested so he can do these projects, and we always get the benefit of getting jobs with them. So I mean, I think that's a trust established. I don't think the regular politicians have that trust. I don't.
but do you think sometimes it's just Trump thinking out loud and not realizing there's other people in the room? Like when he came up to making uh, the Gulf of Mexico, changing it to the Gulf of America.
Yeah, I do think he's. I think that's a
But
wish we were doing that end, but
but I mean, now that I've talked about that, you showed me something on Facebook. One of the reasons for renaming it Gulf of America
right. So they can now it's a
for
treaty
the
that you signed.
maritime maps
Yeah,
and the
so they have
boundaries.
right.
I
So
mean,
he renamed it, so now it does it kind of voids the treaties and the agreements. I mean, that's what I look at, and I think that's somebody pointed out initially, people were bemoaning, like, "What is he doing? Why is he doing this?" And somebody spoke up. Here's why he's doing this. It was a real short video on, I think it was on Facebook. Somebody had posted from Instagram or X or something. I thought it was great. I don't think Trump does a lot of stuff. See, he's ahead of the game in some ways because he is an investor, he is a businessman, and when he says something, it's going to sound so odd and just bizarre. He's already got a thought process behind it, but you're just you're interrupting him in the mid thought, and he's saying what he's thinking in mid thought, and you're only hearing that part. It sounds really outlandish then. So, but I mean, do I have full trust in Trump? A hell of a lot more than I have with the others, but not full trust, no. But I mean, I think he's doing what he said he's going to do. I can't emphasize that enough. He's doing what he said he's going to do, and I never seen a
it,
president in Canada do that.
and they can't keep up, and they hate it.
No,
What about Governor Newsom's asking for $40 billion? Do you think it should come with strings attached,
oh hell
or
yeah, oh hell yeah. I mean,
do
it's
you
like,
think maybe force them to maybe have to change in their restrictions on some of their laws?
well, yeah, I would say, let's just face it. Again, it goes back to if it's the federal government, which is the federal population as a whole, that's our money. And we should say we want stipulations because we want to get these people back in their homes or get these houses rebuilt. And they're just doing this now for a land grab. They're just delays. I can't see anything other but that on that. They're trying to do it for a land grab. And they got people already lined up. They think the West Bank and Gaza, they were trying to have auctions over there. So it's the same principle. They're in North Carolina, the same thing.
They're
There's
not
people
having
lined up.
auctions in Gaza right now.
Well, no, they were going. That was put to the
They
stop.
probably would have if Trump went and stepped in and said that that's our property.
It could have
That's
been.
then who knows? That could be the reason why he did it. It's
That
because
could
he
have been the
didn't
reason.
want. Maybe he doesn't want Jews coming in and buying it all up.
Because I mean,
That would look pretty bad, wouldn't it?
I thought it was going to look horrible. From when I got wind of it, I was like appalled, man. I'm like, what the hell? The blood's still getting spilt, and you're going to auction off property. I mean, it's like if you really don't want people to be, appalled at you, then at least have some timing, better timing for where you want to initiate. But this is ridiculous.
What do you think about Trump's negotiating for the mineral rights of not only the mineral rights, but the right to refuse, meaning that Ukraine can't sell any minerals without offering them to the United States first?
Well, it's again,
You think that's fair to
that's
recoup our money that we've given them in light of that the Europeans they've only gave Ukraine money as loans and they're expected to be paid back, but we're
right.
not.
Right. I mean, I think it's so weird about Trump, and people are so, think it's so bizarre. Is he actually saying, okay, we're going to help you out, but we want something in return? We have never done that as a nation. There's only one country that ever paid its war debt back to the United States. So it's country of Finland, which probably didn't owe as much in the face of everything as everybody else
Well,
did.
Saudi Arabia tried to give Bush money He turned it down,
I don't
remember?
underst yeah, I don't understand
Saudi
that.
Arabia tried to give Bush money, Gulf War One, to give to the troops, but he said that we're not mercenaries and turned it down.
Yeah, I don't understand that either, but, then again, it's not
Well,
his money,
pissed
it's
me off.
ours.
I coulda had extra money for being over there, sucking up all that oil smoke.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that I never liked the Bush myself. I mean, the Bushes, either one of
Oh,
them.
the more I find out, especially with Enron, that's disgusting that they're even walking on they're free men after what they did with Enron into California.
Yeah, I mean, but
Disgusting.
they're so highly placed and they are so entrenched and they had so
Well, it's
much
the same thing, like with Stacey Abrams was due to get $2 billion in community grants for her organizations until Doge found out and it has stopped it.
it should
Okay,
be.
and not only that, she was investigated and she was fined $300,000 in campaign violations. Does that sound like the type of person that should be have $2 billion to dispose of to other communities and nonprofits?
No, I don't think so.
I
I
mean,
mean,
if anybody else were to get caught like this, they would go to jail. These guys get away with this on an everyday basis. Is there something wrong?
no, no, yeah, there's no, nothing wrong. Somebody just sent us a message here.
No,
So
don't worry about it.
okay, all right. So anyway, no, I think I wouldn't give more money to people who've already been investigation. I mean, it's like in that the Democrats had no problem doing that, and the Republicans too. I can't make it just left and right. No, I can't say that that's a bad idea to say no. You're not going to get this money. No, it's our money. I don't understand why these politicians think they got just should have constant access to our checking books or our cat to our bank accounts. Yeah, I don't understand why they do that and why they think that. I mean, they think we should trust them after they have never proven themselves to be trustworthy, in my
I
opinion.
don't know. Well, what do you think about taking over you think that that's something that Trump really wants to do, the 51st state, or do you think that's just a joke?
I can't really I don't I've weighed that back and forth, Steve, and I just can't imagine. I mean, I can't imagine what good would come out of it because they've got so many liberals in Canada. If it comes to voting, the more conservative leaning people are never going to have a chance to get anybody elected if we put him in there. I mean, we're going to just have a overwhelming vote on the side, probably too much on the left. So, and another thing is too, they look at the administrative
But it
costs
could
of each
but
state
what
now.
about the territory? That wouldn't be bad. I
Well, it's
mean,
like,
we give money to Canary our territories,
yeah, yeah, we
so
do too.
that way they could still they could still run things, you
Right.
know what I mean, as a
Yeah,
territory, and we wouldn't have to have all their debt. We still have maintain some separation.
yeah, I mean, that's like, I guess I don't know. I don't, but him being sincere about it, again, I think he's examined something. Like I said, I think we walked in the midstream of his mental processing, and he's the part he spoke out loud. We walked into
But
that.
I like what Jessica Young said about transparency. Everything's transparent about this president.
Yeah, that's what I was going to refer to as like when I saw that pop
But
up.
yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, but I the man, just think about it. He had his inaugural, and he went to the Oval Office and invited reporters in, and he was talking as he was signing executive orders
all right.
within 3 hours.
Yeah, most times they. What did Biden do after he was sworn in? I think he took a
I
nap
don't
for
know.
2 days.
Remember, everything was indoors, and I don't even know. I don't even remember. I didn't watch it. I don't know what I think. I was at work or something. I don't remember.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember. Yeah, I think it's. I can't. I don't want to remember because it was a pretty bad 4 years.
But I sort of get a kick out of it watching the press conferences with President Trump, that he gives them so much information that they can't focus, even in the press conference. They can't focus on one topic because they're just hammering it out there. And it's just so, I don't know. It's just nice
It's
to
like
actually
every.
have grown-ups back.
Well, for years we were so used to politicians be so tight-lipped because they had so much to conceal. They're saying this guy has so much to conceal, but they haven't really come up with anything substantial. That I think it's even worth going further on. And now you got a person saying basically he's just pouring everything out, and then they're still criticizing him. Okay, they're thinking, well, he's the press whore. He just wants to be in the limelight. Yeah, that's what his job is, kind of being in the being the president.
But
Besides,
it's in a good I just don't understand how the average person I don't think the average person does have problems with Trump.
um,
I think it's these people who are far right and far left that we that have problems with them.
I think that I think that the mainstream. I mean, I don't know who the mainstream is because around here we have a different perspective. Even though people we have on Facebook when we see their postings, it's still kind of a narrow view of what the country overall sees. But I just can't look over the fact that he was won by considerable margin, both the popular vote and the electoral
But
vote.
they still poo-poo it. They
Yeah, I
they
know.
they like, "Oh, big deal." So what doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything when a Republican does it. But Trump is in I don't see Trump as a Republican. I see him as MAGA.
No, because well, let's face it. I
And
mean,
and
he
I
was
see myself as well, I'm a MAGA convert, but I'm not a Republican. I don't like most Republicans. You know that.
no, I don't. Yeah. So yes, Jessica, they do have things to hide. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
but no, I think that
But I mean, the average person has things to hide too. You wouldn't want to know everything about John. I know
it's.
I don't.
I don't know what I don't want to know everything about myself, but
No.
it's kind of boring. But no, I think that and that's another thing is too is like I think that Trump I mean, we go back to 2016 when he was first running. Before that, he was fighting off all these contenders from the Republican Party. He beat out what 8 other ones, more established Republican candidates. I say the same pro offered crap that they
But
offer.
it was just these.
But
But we don't. If you notice, we don't have candidates like that anymore. You can't be a cookie cutter Bushite anymore and expect to get any votes. People don't want that. They want originality and real people who are genuine, and you can see that in a person.
Well, see, that's one thing I definitely got to say. People, critics have to say that, and that's the reason they go after him so much. Trump is very real. He's not this facade. He's not. I mean, they try to. If anybody says he's phony, I don't see where he's been phony at. I mean, like I've
I
said, there's
mean, he jokes around and he has that facade, but when it comes, you see his interactions with people,
right.
like when he was at McDonald's. The guy he couldn't have been more genuine there.
I don't think you could fake that level of genuineness. I don't. I mean, and another thing, I just can't. I can't keep on going. I could keep on going back to the point. I can't get over it. He's a guy who has lived an ensconced lifestyle, but he still knows how to talk to the average person. He relates to them better than these people who are, I was raised in a middle class family. I was raised in, who said that all the time? Kamala. She wasn't convincing anybody in that. And just somebody, our viewer said she's an average person. I don't have anything to hide. Well, I think everybody has some embarrassing moments, at least. Maybe something they can't take you to court
No,
over. But
I'm just joking when I'm saying
yeah.
maybe a social tick or something like that. I'm not talking about stealing money from his mom or anything.
Right. I mean, no, I think there's something. I mean, that's the reason why. But I want to. I still want to have the right for be securing your papers and property and stuff. The Fourth Amendment and the Fifth Amendment. So,
But
because guess
Trump did come out today and say that the war with Ukraine and Russia could be ended this week.
oh, that'd be
That's
awesome.
Yeah, because I know they were going back and forth with the mineral rights things, but I think they got that worked out.
See, I don't see. I don't. Why would anybody criticize saying, "Well, you're giving them money and stuff like that for support of their military conflict, but you want something back? How gauche?" I mean,
But
no,
the
come
thing
on, you
about it,
got something
okay,
to offer.
but mineral rights are better than money. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
something that's going to always be there, whether Ukraine goes bankrupt or not.
Right, because let's face it, I mean, what they always value gold for, because it's got staying power, where, the value remains the same. I'll go into a little bit of economics, but say if years ago when gold was at $5 a ounce, you could buy a men's business suit for $5. Nowadays, you have the amount of gold, the price of gold now
But
connected
think
buy
about it,
two
just
men's
like
suits.
what is it? The builder, not the builder, the Burge, whatever the group is that buys up all the diamonds.
Oh,
It's the same way with the gold. A lot of it's artificially inflated,
right, a lot of that
where
is.
they go and they buy it up, and then all of a sudden when they got what they want, then they'll start releasing it, and the price will go down.
Yeah, that's what it is. I mean, it is a manipulative measure. That's what I think a lot of that controls of those commodities. I know silver does have legitimate industrial use. So does palladium and platinum. Those they have like I think it's platinum's inside of catalytic converters, right? That's what. Yeah.
Yeah,
So that does have
palladium,
legit palladium or platinum.
palladium, I think
Palladium.
is in a converter in the car, but
But I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong saying, "Well, I'm going to look up for my country's best interest." Okay, here's the thing: if you're having questions and saying that's really sad for him to do this, think about this, folks. We are borrowing money from other countries to give to other countries, and we're getting charged interest on the loans we're getting so we can pass it off to somebody else. Now, where does that help us out at all? Tell us about it. We have that bill is going to be presented to your great grandkids, your great grandkids, and your great great grandkids. No, this is not smart to be so nonchalant about getting paid back on something. No, I don't think that's so
No,
stupid.
it's a good thing.
Right.
And
So
it
I mean,
doesn't hurt. I mean, you're supposed to be allies, right? If
right.
you're an ally, you would pay the money back.
Right. Well, I remember reading because I obviously wasn't around after the Second World War, but France and England just basically forgave the debt that they owed us because the Lend Lease program and all that stuff. But then when they asked the Soviets about chance for payment, they just laughed at them. Paying us back. So I mean, now it's a time for Ukraine as part of the Soviet Union. So now it's time for us to get a little bit of money back, a little bit of the wealth back that we put out to the expended for those wars. And we never get back the human cost. You'll never get that back. How many generations of people do we sacrifice for foreign wars? I mean,
Well, I mean, but the more you dig into stuff, that you find out it was for the rich.
right,
Any war that we went into is because rich people or influential people, however you want to frame it, are the ones that decided that we were going to do it.
right. They knew this years in advance. I'm sure they have. I mean, it's not just conspiracy minded. They've been proven that there's always meetings and stuff, and there's always movement. You can see the movements ahead of time. That's going to indicate where next war is going to be. I mean, it was already said, years and years ago that they wanted to take out 5 countries in the Middle East, and they pretty much on target for that. So, it's how can you say there's no such thing as conspiracies when people said this is going to happen years out, and now it's being realized? It's just mere coincidence. Yeah.
No, no, it's just the way. What do you feel about, or how do you feel about Associated Press suing the Trump administration because they barred them from the Oval Office because of their view? The Associated Press doesn't want to call the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America.
In some ways, I like the First Amendment, but in other ways, I don't want to deal with somebody who's denying reality.
But no,
It is
they're going to
reality.
court though
Yeah. Oh,
to sue for it.
I know. I like
Why shouldn't the president? I mean, there's only a certain number of press that they can fit in there, anyways. Why is AP so important?
right.
It's,
Like they would tell us if we wanted to have something on citizen driven, when the press will say, you can't tell me that somebody can't speak for you on your behalf. Well, guess what? You can get your news story from some other source, and the same
well,
sources that are in
especially
there.
when the AP is a farce. They try to say that it's independent news, but all it is a news pool of all the big media conglomerates. Or
Yeah, I
you know
mean,
what I mean?
right. I think it's don't like I said, I am a First Amendment fan, so I can see some issues with that, but
But you
I understand
shouldn't
we did
have
it.
to go to. But again, there's only a certain number of people that can fit in the Oval Office.
Hmm.
And if Trump doesn't want to pick AP, but he's got these other news outlets are in there, right?
Well, they could just
So
hey, look,
how is it a First Amendment issue by saying AP you can't go in, but all these other news outlets can?
well, you're right there because it's not concealing anything. Obviously, people who are representing the press, whatever it may be,
But
legislative.
again, when you know the AP is just the newspapers, it's a pool of news.
Well, thinking here's
They're
the
not independent. They're not independent from anything. They
no.
get their money from the newspapers.
So I just yeah, I don't think it's I like I said, I'm going to see what the court's going to say about it, but I can see issues with it.
I don't think the court should be telling the president what to do
But
like
okay,
that.
they're gonna argue, and I know this. So I mean, they're just being the devil's advocate. They're going to argue it's impediment on the First Amendment, on their First Amendment. I know that's what they're going to
Okay,
contend.
but how? But if he's already got other news outlets in there,
Oh,
what's
that's
the
true.
difference? They can get their news from the people that go in there. They don't
Well,
have to have firsthand.
well, here's a case that you can say if they are so concerned about that and he won't let them in, they can always have somebody else set up a camera, do a live stream like we're doing right now from the Oval Office with a
They
Wi-Fi
do.
connection.
Everything
So
the
that's all they have
president
to have.
does is on TV
Well, then that meets the
or
qualification of that.
TV,
In my
the
opinion,
internet.
that meets the qualification for them to, First Amendment not be impeded. They have access to it. They just can't sit here physically in there. They could still have a camera set up doing a live stream. They could be outside watching it, maybe making commentary like we're doing right now. They got access to more money than we do, and we're doing this right now from 2 different
But
locations.
okay, but what makes the AP any more important than
I'm not
a
arguing that.
small? That's what I'm saying. They're right to be at an event not everybody gets to go to the event. Why the AP is no more important than any other news outlet.
Like I said, I just realized the tack they're going to take in court, or possibly. So that's all I'm suggesting. That's
But again, I'm asking you if they
I
do take
again,
that
I can't
tactic
answer that because
and
I'm not.
somebody comes in there and argues, just because you're not in there means that your free speech is impeded. How? It's not.
Well,
They
free.
don't have a they don't have a court case, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, somebody. Well, the lawyer is going to get paid to take it, so they're going to do that. That's what they're going to
Does
do.
AG Bondi says that she has the Epstein list on her desk, and they're going through it, and they're going to release it soon. Does it really matter at this point? Do you care? If
Yeah, I
they're not
still
going to
care. I still
investigate and
care.
hold people's feet to the fire, and if they've had this list and they know who these people are, and they've gotten away with it all these years, and most of it, unless Trump changes something, they can't. Everything's expired. What's the word I'm looking for?
Statute of limitation.
Yeah, it has expired, and they can't arrest anybody anymore. They waited it out. So doesn't that make the Republicans look bad? They've
Yeah,
had
listen.
this list all along, but they haven't done anything about it.
Well, I should make him feel bad, and that's again, like you and I've said before, that's the reason why we see Trump being different than the rest of the Republicans because he's not a Republican. He's Donald Trump, and this is a MAGA movement, and he's not. And they if anything, they have a chance now to be a party still.
But
The Republicans
supposedly,
can be a
what
party.
they've had that list for 5, 6 years that we know of, and
Yeah,
haven't
well,
acted on it.
yeah, like I've heard about for 5 6 years. It seems like even longer, but
And
yeah,
now, all of a sudden, now that Trump's in there, okay, we're going to release the list, but what are you going to do about it?
right.
Most likely nothing, because like we said, the statute of limitations have probably ran their course.
No, like, and would they extend the statute of limitations, which I would find a issue with
Well,
that.
remember, New York did that. They not only extended the statute of limitations, that people remember that's how that crazy lady sued Donald Trump because they went back, like, I don't, was it 30 years
Mhm.
for, but they changed the law just for Trump.
See which violates the Bill of Attainder, also writes what's the ex post facto laws. You're not supposed to create ex post facto laws or Bill of Attainders, but they've done that both. I mean, we pointed out Mr. Mawson's show, what's going on when that was going on. We were pointing out, and people were like, "Well, we got to get him. We got to get him." No, you don't. You don't create a precedent that could go bite you in the ass later. And that's all these people who are so gung ho to get Trump. Guess what, people? Your people are going to be doing something down the road. We can be doing the same thing now. If you don't speak out against it now, because it is constitutionally outlined, what you can and cannot do when you're trying to get an individual convicted. And you're not supposed to create ex post facto laws and Bill of Attainders. So, I mean, that's ridiculous. Yeah, but the left gets, there's that's a
But they
two-tier.
don't change. They do the same thing. They're like, what is it, Don Quixote with the Democrats going after Trump like he's a windmill. I mean,
Yeah,
they don't change. They
no.
do the same thing over and over, and they're just digging a deeper hole for themselves that they're not going to be able to get out in time for the next presidential election.
Well, but the
They
thing
don't
is,
even have anybody. Can you name one Democrat that's tolerable that you could listen to for 5 minutes?
no,
That's
because
not already in the Trump administration,
I was going to say Tulsi Gabbard, but
like Gabbard,
she left.
and
Yeah,
because they're really Democrats. They're not what we call liberals.
right.
I mean, well, actually, I think RFK is liberal in the true sense.
Yeah, his family's definitely more of
In
it.
the true sense, not what we bastardize liberal to mean today.
Yeah, because the only thing I see a liberal in this country being liberal about is liberally wanting to control your life. They want to have absolute control of everything, every aspect of your existence,
But we've
and
had
you
a
can't say
mutual
anything about
friend who was a real liberal
it. Right.
that was
He's
the ombudsman of Flint.
the classical liberal. He was the
Right.
classical liberal. He believed in the enshrinement of the human civil rights.
But
Yeah.
not like what they're calling a liberal today.
Right.
They're communist.
They're see. That's the thing is, I mean, it's where they say that use the terms right and left in our political sphere, and I don't even know how that's applicable. And I
Not
don't know how
anymore
that
after MAGA, because there's right, left, and MAGA now.
well, they're just people. The way I looked at it, most of the people, a lot of people who voted for Trump are just pissed off at the status quo, and I think being angry about stuff is a good thing. Just take it out in the voting booth. That's what it is. Vote your conscience. Vote your interest. Don't have somebody saying Oh, because you really you're selfish. Yeah, you are
No,
selfish.
I
You're
mean,
right to be
because
selfish.
some of the best politicians that we met in Flint or that we really liked were Democrats
Right.
in
Well,
the
that's
true sense,
not like the current
not what they call Democrat now, a real Democrat.
like the labor union, working class,
Right.
the rank and file union people. Yeah, there's a transformation. I mean, the Republicans, they transformed too. I mean, not as much though. I mean, at least they haven't totally abandoned their roots where I see the Democrats have. I mean, they become tyrannical. They wanted freedom for the working class, and they want to become the ruling classes, be the rulers of the ruling class. They
You wanna
even though
say
they have
goodbye to Jessica?
okay. Okay, I tell you so. Hey, thanks a lot for joining us, Jessica. Sorry we didn't get back to you enough. We're debating stuff on our own. So, but thank you very much, and pass word on that we're doing this, and we really like to subscribe to us over on YouTube, on
TikTok,
TikTok,
Rumble,
Rumble. So thank you very much for
X.
joining us. Yeah. So thank you very much, Jessica, for joining us. Okay. So anyway, I'm glad she joined us. She put some a lot in there, and I wish I could have got a chance to read some more, but we're just going back and forth so quick.
But
Um,
it's nicer like this. I like this setup
I do
more.
too. Well, it's another thing is too, it makes us like, it's like basically people can see us for, more individually too, so they can see our facial expressions more. But also, I think it just, I don't know, I think I'm glad it works. This Restream, folks, is a great way of doing things too. A tremendous platform. Thank you. God bless you too. God bless you too. No, I mean, no, I think the Trump administration, though, I mean, he is again go back to it. I think he's a perpetual motion machine. When does he shut down? When does he go to sleep? I mean, does he eat? I mean, serious. This guy, boom, boom, boom. I'm always seeing him being he's in the press and doing this, he's doing that. I don't know. Do you think he's had shut down more than? Do you think he's gone down more for a day or so? I haven't. I don't think he has.
No, because people are honestly saying that they don't think he's sleeping, but I'm sure he is. I'm just making a joke because you and I have weird. I don't sleep that much,
I sleep
but
about
I
4 hours.
don't do anything.
Yeah, that's what he's. I mean, he's doing. It's a okay. Oh, she is. Jessica says she's an old school supporter. So thank you.
It's
We
been
appreciate.
around since 2016.
Wow, that's a long time. Bye. Have a good day. All right. But no, no, that's cool. I mean, we do like our audience participation. If you do join in and do say something, please don't get angry if you don't just move on. But we try to get to them. But
Try to put it into the natural
yeah, flow of
flow
things.
of our conversation,
That
if you can call it that. Do you think I'm wrong for seeing uh the Pope being unable to talk during an event and now he's in the hospital on his deathbed? I mean, I don't want to see anybody die, but do you think it's God's way of silence and evil? Of the not him as evil, but the things that he was doing, in my opinion, were
That's
evil.
the same way I've seen good people die of horrible deaths, and I don't know how to weigh it, but I do definitely think that I can't say this enough. I think he is, even when you have a long time traditionalist Catholic like Mel Gibson having issues with Mel Gibson, and a Catholic has to deal with the idea of papal infallibility, and which was a very late, adaptation to the dogma or whatever or practices of the church. I don't know if it's a dogma or practice. Um, when you got somebody who's like a long time traditionalist Catholic, and he was attacking the thing that Mel Gibson.
Attacking everything
Yeah,
Catholic.
yeah. I mean, he was. He didn't want to have the Latin Mass. Well, I think the Latin Mass should be available. I don't think anything wrong with having variety.
And
And
that's what I when I went with my grandmother in the 1960s, in the early 1970s, every mass that I went to her with was in Latin.
right, and it's like you learn something. I don't see there's anything wrong
I
with.
don't know that I learned anything. I just didn't know what was going on because I didn't go to church that often.
See, I go to Aramaic speaking church, the Syrian Church of the East, and they
But
use.
they had I'm sure they had the
Yeah. Oh yeah, they
translations
did.
and everything available for every. No, I mean even in Latin mass.
Oh yeah, they certainly did. I mean, my mom grew up in the 1930s through the 60s. She went to Catholic schools, Catholic church, and she knew quite a bit of Latin because you just by repetition you get to see and hear what those words mean and stuff. So I think that's a good thing. I think it increases the literacy of the country. But no, see, he was against that. Plus, he brought in Pachamama, which is a goddess from South and Central America or something like that, where they did a activity, one of their like a worship service to this
But
deity.
I mean, I felt the same way when Trump had all these speakers at his conference during the summer that were doing blessings and like different religions. But then I think about it, he's supposed to represent everybody, right?
Right.
So maybe it was okay that he had some that he included these people?
Well, I think he almost has to. I mean, and I certainly don't want to
I
see.
mean,
Let me
because you
just
looked at Patel, he had his hand, he didn't use the Bible to swear in. He used the you know the name of the
God
book.
Evita or one of the other,
Yeah.
yeah, the
To
holy books.
swear in with. Is
Yeah.
that such a bad thing?
Well, it's whatever I think you find it holy, and you keep it holy. I mean, I guess that's the way I can sum it up. And we can't escape it. We have a multicultural
But
country
wouldn't
going
you
on.
rather he had his hand on that than on the Bible if he's not a Christian?
Right, yeah, because if he did it, if he was saying to swear an oath on a Bible, a book that he didn't find sacred, yeah, I mean, I would be disingenuous. You can always
But I
just
actually
be
think he
disingenuous.
does. But in Cash Patel's defense, I think he does believe in the Bible.
Well, it's I mean,
I mean, he finds it sacred, is what I mean.
well, see, the Hindus actually, from my understanding, don't have like this hard, fast rule like the Christians. The Christians are very exclusive, and I
But
admit
I'm
that.
talking about him as a person,
Yeah,
not as his religion. You can
well,
respect somebody's. So you don't have to be someone's religion to respect it and to hold their beliefs sacred.
no, I mean, or to yeah, I mean, just simply not to try to full coerce them into your way of thinking. No, I mean, we can't do that in this country. We've always had the freedom of speech and freedom of religion, freedom of assembly, and I can't, I don't want to see that challenged or changed, despite the fact that, let's face it, it's going to be increasingly challenged. It's going to be challenged because so many people from other countries with other belief
But
systems coming in.
okay, you heard about Trump uh, confronting the governor of Maine directly about not wanting to go along with federal law.
Yeah.
Do you think Do you think it's on its way out, the transgender thing? Do you think that and the pronouns that people are just saying, we're just done with that"? I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, you can have it, but just go back to the way we were, where it didn't matter what you do as a human being as long as it doesn't hurt another person. Can't we just go back to that?
I wish we could. I hope, and it looks like it's waning, and it might be just because of the administration's in power. You know, who's in power, and I'm glad it is because I think it's insanity. I don't think that I don't really see where anybody. I can't. They say well, hate crimes and stuff against transgenders and stuff like that. I don't know anybody who reacted that way. I don't know anybody who's done that. So I mean, I
I
haven't heard
mean,
the
but
cases
I've
being
even
tried
heard
for
a
that.
transgendered activist actually admit it. They're only like point 0.0001 of the population, anyways. I mean, chances are you're not going to run into anyone that's transgender.
Right. I mean, it's like
But
I've known three of
I
them though. You know, three
but you can
transgenders.
still nobody's saying not to respect the person. I
No,
mean, they you can still if somebody says that they feel that way, you can still call them by their name
just get
or
their name
refer to them as however.
right.
I don't mind
It just
if somebody wants to be called a girl, call them. You know what I mean?
It just okay if they got. I'll just ask for their name. That they can't really go wrong if you just call them by their name and don't say it like snottily or anything. Just say their name. I mean, that's the best approach. I mean, I with that
But you
my
don't have to hurt their feelings. I mean,
no, no, you don't have to. It's not your turn. It's not your job to
no,
berate them. No, I don't believe that. Like I said, just get their name, what they their preferred name, and use that. I don't see how you can go wrong with that. Okay, if your
yeah.
name's Sue, or Sue. Okay, whatever. You know, even if your
But
mom's Sue.
I think America's done with it.
Up I'm thinking I think the intensity is diminished, and I think that's good. Now, could it resurge if, say, a Democrat gets elected another 4 years? Possibly, but I think it is on its way out. I think it's gonna die a, pretty quiet death because I think
I
it
think it
came about.
already has, really.
Yeah, I would hope so because I think it's just insane. It creates more of an issue, and I don't see if you're not being singled out for
I
bad treatment.
but have you ever in over its what 4 year the pronoun things? Have you ever met anybody that wanted to be called something other than
No,
you
not
know
only
what I
on the
mean?
not only in the media than when they were concentrating. Not locally, no. No, I mean, there was a guy that used to work in one of the local stores who was a transgender or whatever, and, we just referred to him the
Can you
name
wave your hand in front of the camera real quick
yeah,
to try to get it back in focus? There
yeah,
you go.
okay, sorry about that. But, yeah, so we called the person by the name they said we called by and pretty much limited the problem. I mean, we
Well,
besides
I
you
mean, it's
being
just like I told you stories that there were gays in the military when I first joined in the 1980s. Nobody cared.
no, I mean, it's like, okay, that's what their thing is. I mean, I've known okay, I grew up in blue collar neighborhood. Everybody had a cousin or relatives as a lesbian or a gay. Nobody beat them up. Nobody they
No.
showed up for family
I mean,
functions.
I think I told you stories about we had a cousin that was she was gay and they would invite invite her girlfriend to events in the 1970s.
Yeah, it's like
Everybody knew, and like I said, everybody knew.
see,
Nobody. I mean, I know my old grandmother and uncles and stuff said something under their breath or whatever, but not to her. They didn't want to hurt her feelings.
did you ever hear about George Carlin? Because I don't know if you ever saw George Carlin before, long way back. He used to have real short hair and dressed in like a
Yeah,
business suit, and then later on he started getting towards more like the hippie and stuff. Well, people were aghast at him first, and then as the cat about went about, people were saying, maybe he's like our cousin Eddie. And he said, I am probably like your cousin Eddie, a little bit off the wall, a little bit more like a hippie, but not somebody you're going to really have to fear. And that's exactly what it was. I mean, it just was new. People experienced it, and say, okay, they adjusted to it. People are amazingly adaptive, and you don't have to have programs reinforce them. People just basically want to move along in their lives. I don't care who they are; they just want to go along with their lives. That's
I mean,
it.
just think about it. On the show, on another show that we do for the church, we've had a person. Not, I'm just saying, who had a different ideas on life, and we had common ground with that person.
Right.
I
I
mean,
mean,
he had different ideas, and we listened to him, and then we figured out that we agree with probably 80% of the things the guy had to say.
right. So I mean, there's a lot of common ground. That's what I mean. That's what I like about them. See, that's what I like about this non-traditional media that we're engaging in. I mean, people can actually call each other out on stuff. They can talk to each other. Maybe have an explosion a couple
I
times.
mean, come on,
Arguments.
we've had explosions. I threatened to leave one time
Yeah.
during a live show.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's like conflict is almost impossible to avoid, but real serious conflict only comes from conflict in values. I think most Americans value having equality. They have a value of wanting to see people just go about in their lives. I think that's 95% of the population's like that. You know, I mean, black, white, Mexican, Hispanic of other types, Latinx, Latino, whatever you want to call it. It's the people just want to go
I
about
don't
their
think the
daily life
average person wants
molested.
to be called anything.
No,
All these titles, like you said, Latinx, and I
right.
remember when they tried that.
Right, it
This
didn't.
call them Latinx instead of Latinas and Latinos
Yeah,
to try to make it one gender. I don't know what they were trying to do.
I don't know either.
Remember
Yeah,
Latinx?
yeah, it's like
But people, I think the average person finds this even stupid. I
well,
mean, do you go around calling yourself a Caucasian
no, I mean,
or
I
a
don't.
white American?
Well, see, I got 8
Uh,
different ethnic groups, and I
right.
want them listed in the priority order I give them, and if you get it wrong, I'm gonna scream bloody murder. That's insane.
Yeah, I
You know
mean,
Okay, yeah, I'm
don't
white.
you think even African Americans play it out?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's like yeah, because, I mean, let's face it, a lot of people like you said before, and it's been said, it's like
Where are you from in Africa?
right, what part? What do you know that? I mean, how can you be something you never been to? I mean, okay, I'm gonna go back to Africa. If you never been to Africa, how can you go back to Africa? Like if
Or
I say
where
I'm
in
European.
Africa are you going to go? You're going to go to North Africa? Where are you going to go in Africa, right?
Well, let's face it. I got 8 different nationalities. They're all mostly from
But
Europe.
the
What am I
same
gonna
thing.
go fix it?
I'm a European American,
Yeah, yeah.
a
It's like
European white American.
yeah,
Could you imagine saying that all the time?
it's stupid. Just say, it's like, what do you prefer? What's my name? Okay, just call my name, John. Okay, but I mean, I just think, yeah, I think it just weighs. It's done by somebody out there who wants guys something to gain. It's probably some academic who wants to write his paper or her paper or whatever
But
his
I
paper.
think we're getting away from all that crap.
I
I
think
don't.
so.
I think people are done with that too. I mean, especially you watch TikTok with just the way the videos are. I have people all over the spectrum that I follow, and I'm sure you do too.
Yeah, I got some. I mean, then by the way, there's some great people out there making documentaries that you won't see on National Geographic because they don't have the budget, but they do damn good. Matter of fact, I just ran across one today, just a tremendous job. And I'd love to do that kind of stuff myself. I mean, these kind of documentaries that I'm seeing people do, they're not so hyped up. They don't have the budget, but they're still damn good. So check everything out. And that's what I like about. I emphasize this all the time. Check out the media, the alternative media, us, other people, Rogan, which is God. I wish we could have the audience he has, but I mean, he's on it, and all these other people, like Theo Vaughn, you the one you brought up before, Theo Vaughn, excellent. I mean, funny, great, very basic people, and they're not polished, college educated with an agenda,
No, they just want to hear what the average person wants to hear.
right?
Ask the questions that the average. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like somebody asked Elon Musk what goes on in his head. I thought that was a good question.
I
And
get. Do we really? Does the world really want to know? No. No. I
no,
mean, yeah.
he says like explosions,
Yeah.
chaos.
It's like it's a nuclear blast every couple seconds. No, I mean the guy he's an oddball. I would say that Elon Musk. I don't know how to peg him as or whatever, but he's pin him down as or whatever. But he's definitely. They keep on saying some of the critics say he didn't invent anything. He didn't do this. He didn't do that.
You don't have to,
He made
but
the
you could
money off of
still
it, didn't he?
okay. You could still be a smart person and help other people get their ideas. You know what I mean?
All right. Just bring it to
Into motion, so to speak. So to speak.
well, see, the thing is, he pushed for something. He got it established. He knew the process after that. He knew how to grab something, work with it, and put it out there so it actually could make money. And once you had a
Okay, but
person,
how many times do you ever hear him use the word I?
I can't say that.
He
It's always
doesn't. He talks about
we and
X. He
yeah.
talks about Tesla. He doesn't ever say that I did this or I don't think you can even track down where he said I did this or I did that.
See, I just think a lot of his critics are just mere resentful that the fact the man's he's got a
Right.
way
Even
about it.
okay. The example I use is when with our church when we tried to go ask the public for some help with our roof.
Right,
How did they treat us? Like we were trying to cheat people
right,
for a $5 donation that we were giving them
yeah, something
something of
more.
value back that was almost worth $5.
Right. And just see some people, let's face it, you could present like that and you go nowhere. Somebody else presents the same deal, they're going to have a avalanche of money coming in. I mean, I basically just got to really resonate with people. We evidently didn't, so we don't. But
That's just we're just not
we're not pretty and popular.
salesmen.
Yeah, we're not pretty and popular either. So, yeah, it's like we were. Well, we didn't. I didn't go to the prom anyway. No, but
But you know, all the stuff that Trump is doing, uh, isn't it everything? You just want more. You know
yeah,
what I mean? You look at the YouTube and Rumble and different things, looking for what did Trump do today. It
yeah.
makes you hate weekends, doesn't it?
Yeah, because it's boring. I mean, even when he pisses off the press, that's even enjoyable. It's like, what do we have for under 4 years of Biden? We're just saying they're not going to break into the news
Nothing.
that he just
But
croaked,
if you
right?
look at the press conferences, they're well thought out questions that people actually want to know the answers to. Because, like I said in another show that we did, the people that try to get, set up the gotcha things, usually he springs the trap and makes them look stupid
Yeah, because
before they can even do a gotcha. He's already figured out what they're going to say
well, he's already anticipated the full
and he gets
question,
them.
and he gets them. I mean, he knows the direction they're going to take it as. Let's face it, he's faced it. I mean, and another thing is, if you just go back a few years ago before he ever ran for the first time as president, he was the darling of the media. They loved him. So did the Democratic Party because he was always quick with a joke and a couple of writing out a big check
But I
for them.
think he has transitioned the media and become his own media. He's his own media. If you think about it,
Right, and it's like another thing is
he
too. It's
gets
still
his word out there the way that he wants to get it out there, and they
and that's
can't control it.
and that's what they don't like. I mean, let's face it. I would if there was something nefarious going on, I want to know about it, and I think that's a possibility. Yeah, but so far you haven't come out.
But do you
All the calls
trust him, even if they came out and they said that he did something nefarious? Would you trust the news
no,
that it's true?
no, I'd be very more. I'd be actually willing to want to hear his side way much more than I would what they want to continue with that crap that they're probably laying out. I mean, I do think they have a vendetta or vendettas against him, and they're sharpening their steel, man. They're trying to go after him, man, and I think he's going to be staying ahead of him. I do. And if he doesn't screw up, I mean, and that's a possibility for
Yeah.
everybody. He
But
can get hubris.
I don't know. I think we're starting to run out of gas. What
So
about you?
yeah, I think so too. So hey, thanks for joining us, folks, and we'll see you next time. Okay, goodbye.